Friday. Let's take a look around the NFL. And it's nice that this week, Ian, for those of us that have been defending Tua really, really strong, it's nice to see the reactions around the league, the haters getting shocked and quieted. But it's not that he's arrived or anything like that, but it's nice that but it's nice that people are making the effort of, instead of finding ways to knock him, they're actually like putting out stats, and they're putting out his fourth quarter stats, and they're praising the kid, praising some of the throws, whether it's deep or tight throws, tight windows, things like that, clutch moments. It's just nice to see him get some love, because I just feel it's been absolutely unfair the way he's been treated, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think he got a couple hugs after last week, and it's interesting because, like we've talked about, it does feel like every start is a referendum on, is he the franchise guy or not? And for the Dolphins, if he was the franchise guy, that would be great. That would be the incredible outcome, because you don't have to spend the picks on another quarterback. And I know they nearly traded for Deshaun Watson, and we went over that the last 2 years, and Deshaun would still not be playing for them now. And amid all of that, Tua not only withstood it and sort of shrugged it off, and honestly didn't seem like he cared that much, he also continued to quietly improve. And, of all the outcomes, him coming out of this as just a star-studded franchise guy was honestly not one that I was totally expecting, but pretty impressive, I would say.
Yeah. And listen, last year I harped on it. It was coaching and talent. And that's exactly what has changed. You brought an offensive mind. You brought somebody that could actually build a real offensive staff, something that Brian Flores just was. It was an impossible task for him to put a legitimate offensive NFL staff together. And then you upgraded the talent. And so now you gave him every opportunity to go out there and be successful. 1 year, Giselle Bundchen came out and said, well, Tom can't catch the balls either. And right now we're watching with the University of Miami, poor Tyler Van Dyke. He has nobody to throw to. Everybody needs help, my brother. I don't care who you are. And the guy we're talking about now, Tua, like you were just talking about, if he does hit, he's replacing Marino, who, by the way, the great Marino didn't have enough help either. That's why he didn't win a title, because he never had a defense, never had a running game. Hell, he didn't even have a right side of the line either. On top of all, it's really the left side of the line that we all brag about. So every quarterback needs help. I don't care how gifted you are or whatever it is. He's got the help now.
He does. And, you bring in Tyreek Hill, and that's great. And, those guys were, they were wide freaking open on Sunday. And I don't know what's going on with the Ravens secondary, but certainly there was some busts and some issues that, you never want to see happen. But just Tua finding them and being able to exploit that is impressive and important, especially with the game on the line at crunch time. He's out there with we talk about the throws and, how far he can throw a football. Like, that's all whatever. Honestly, who cares? But to me, most important thing is when it's all going crazy, he's the guy that's calm and's like, all right, I'm going to find this guy and with this bust. And I thought that was awesome. The other thing I was going to say was, it's not just, you brought in Tyreek Hill and you give him some weapons. It's also like the guys who are there are being developed, right? So like Waddle looks good too. And he's kind of on his way to being a really good, complete receiver also. And nobody did anything to him. He was just there. He just got better, because that's what happens.
Craycraft came in and boom, touchdown to Craycraft. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
Mike brings him from San Francisco, and he's a fifth receiver or whatever. Comes off the practice squad, they activate him. Boom. Let me tell you, the Azukama kid that they drafted in the 4th round, that kid had a monster camp in preseason, and they're not even using it. You haven't even seen much of Cedric Wilson yet. And by the way, speaking of Gesicki, the 2 throws, the one in the middle of the field that he put in a tight window with a guy on his hip, and then the throw he put in the back of the end zone. Yeah, Gesicki had to go up in the air, but that throw had to be perfect
Yeah.
at that spot so he can go get it. And
And I
where
had to make
Tua
sure that
threw it,
only he could get it too, you know?
exactly. And where Tua threw it from the 3-yard line deep into the back of the end zone, that's a 30-yard strike that he throws. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And he put it perfectly where it needed to be. And that's, again, you cannot take accuracy, ball placement, anticipatory skills, all of those things will make any quarterback elite. And that's why I
Yeah.
think, that's why Hill was bragging so much about it, because after a while catching it and going, wow,
You know
this
what?
kid is consistent.
You know what? I have to say, so it's interesting about the Tyreek Hill podcast stuff. Like, you sort of roll your eyes at it. There's a lot of hyperbole, whatever. But it maybe sort of doesn't seem like hyperbole right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like maybe he just knew and we just didn't know, and he was right and we just hadn't seen it yet. You know what I mean? Like, all that. There's a lot of things that have been interesting about the Dolphins off season, but that is one of them. The fact that he came out with all this stuff about overly positive about Tua, and I think a lot of people were like, okay.
Yeah.
But he might end up being right.
I mean, what did we forget in Alabama? He was throwing everybody in stride, bro. I mean,
But
everybody. It
nobody
was
cares
that's
about
what
that, you know? Like,
I
all anyone saw was what happened as a rookie, and then he kind of got injured, and everyone's like, all right, you know?
right.
So, anyway, it's all been really fascinating, I would say. Really fascinating.
And by the way, your boy also was going through a test because all offseason was, oh yeah, no, Mike McDaniel, yeah, he's a funny guy. Oh yeah, the jokes,
He
yeah,
is
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Let's see when the shit hits the fan. Let's see how those jokes work out and all that. Well, guess what? Game 2, shit hit the fan, bro. Halftime, nothing was working. All hell broke loose, and guess what? They responded for Mike McDaniel. So not
Sure
only
did.
Tua, but McDaniel also passed the test too.
Well, yeah, and I always like listening to the post game speeches and post game locker rooms, because not only do you get to see guys jubilantly excited, but you also get to see what's important, right? Like, what does the coach talk about? And Mike McDaniel is so cerebral, but clearly he has been harping with his team on, like, body language, don't get down, stay upbeat, like all of the things about, like, psyche and confidence. And at the end, he took time to be like, this is why. This is why you shouldn't get down. This is why you got to stay in it. You got to stay in the right mindset. Like, that was kind of what he was talking about. So that's obviously important to him. And, I just know from, like, old man dad sports, like, if you are down in the dumps and you're taking yourself with it, like, there's nowhere to go. And this was a great example of, like, you got to stay into it because we always got a chance.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, couple of months ago, my brother, we're looking at this game on Sunday and we're saying there is no shot in hell that the Dolphins belong on the same field with the Buffalo Bills. And right now, the Buffalo Bills are the creme de la creme of the
Yep.
NFL. They are the
Yep.
best team in the NFL that is not up for argument or any kind of discussion. But I'll say this, as a Dolphins fan, I'm not going into that game scared and going, oh my God, they've got no shot. They're home, short week. They've got some injuries too. Miami's got a shot in this game. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh my God, I'm shocked that they won." Now I'm going to tell you, "Hey man, you know what? They got a fighter's chance in this game on Sunday." What do you say to that?
I mean, if they do, then we're talking about them in a whole different way. Like, the Buffalo Bills have played 2 games against 2 teams, have destroyed
Destroying.
both, and it has not been close. So if they do the same thing to the Dolphins, I think my reaction will kind of be like, all right, like, okay, it's whatever. Like, they've done that to other 2 teams. They did it to them. Buffalo's just really, really good.
You're right.
God forbid the Dolphins stay with them, then we will learn about the Dolphins too. And maybe we will find out that this team is, like, really in it for the long haul and really legit. Like, that's a fun game. Like, I'm excited for a lot of them this weekend, but that's certainly one of them.
Oh man, that's undefeated versus undefeated there. So that's a little extra sauce that goes with that one. By the way, you just talked about the one of the teams that they trounced, which was Tennessee and Tannehill. Is this the end for Tannehill? Do you think the Malik experiment starts? Because they probably should start that already.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I don't get the sense that it's starting now, and it hasn't been great. Derrick Henry didn't look great either. Honestly, like there's certainly some other issues. They also took his best receiver away, which is, I would say probably something that would be nice if he could just throw to AJ Brown right now, but he can't. So he can throw to Traylon Burks, who's good, but he's not AJ Brown's level yet.
Yeah.
It has not been great there, and my understanding going into the season was that it was going to be Tannehill throughout the season. And I just don't think Malik Willis is ready, but he is talented. So that's going to be certainly something to watch.
Yeah, I think it'll be, well, then it's going to be Tannehill until you're mathematically out. And then when
Maybe.
you're
Yeah, maybe.
mathematically out, that's when you start to develop the future.
Which hopefully we're
Probably.
not talking about that anytime soon, but we'll see.
Yeah. That was all right. Tampa, Mike Evans gets suspended. Bruce Arians investigated, reprimanded. I guess what's the deal? What's going on with Bruce? Was
reprimanded
he
and
warned? Was he really telling Evans to go kick his ass, bro? Come on.
I mean, I don't know if he said that. Would it surprise me? Would I be like shocked? No, I would not be shocked. But yeah, I mean, Bruce Arians is a leader. He is someone who should be above all this. He should be in the suite. He should be sitting with the owner. He should be talking about the game. He shouldn't be on the sidelines instigating. So, yeah, the NFL reprimanded him and warned him. And next time it's going to be a fine and maybe worse. So I do not think you'll have to worry about seeing Bruce Arians on the sideline in the middle of fights anymore, which is good. Because the man is 70 years old and should not be involved in any of that stuff, honestly.
No, definitely not. It's remember the Yankee thing with was it Pedro that he threw the Yankee coach down and there was a
John
brawl.
Zimmer?
Yeah, Zimmer, exactly. Yeah, that was you don't want to see that kind of stuff.
No, you do not want to see that.
Yeah. Listen, my crazy ass said that the Dolphins would be 3-1 in the first 4 games. I didn't think that they'd beat the Bills. But I did think they'd beat the Bengals. Well, guess what? They're beatable. How bad is what's going on in Bungletown? 0-2. They spend a lot of money on the O-line, yet he is getting brother, he's headed for another knee injury. Let's just put it that way. If he's going to get hit like this at this pace, Joe Burrow is not going to last a season for the Bengals. So what is going on in Mike Brown's world?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's a lot of – I don't think the Bengals are going to be this bad. I mean, they've lost on the final play twice in 2 weeks. So, I do not think they're bad. I think they're going to be okay. They make a kick. They make a PAT, and they win one of those games. So, I think the Bengals are going to be fine. I don't think the sky is falling. As far as Burrow goes, I think there's blame to go around because he needs to get rid of the ball too. And part of the reason he's Joe Burrow is because he holds on to the ball and tries to make a play. There is a balance there between trying to make a play and don't get yourself killed. So I think that's sort of what, the organization's harping on now is making sure that he can get rid of the ball and just self-preservation to make sure he's in it till the end.
Tua does that at times. Saban even has talked about it, how that's what got him injured, hanging on to the ball. And then in the first week, he did that a couple times where, dude, and then this week he cleaned it up. It's you gotta, the beauty of Marino was he knew exactly that the play was falling apart and he just threw it right out of bounds happily, bro. And it was a beautiful thing because he just lived to fight another day. And the great ones, they understand that, and they're quick to just get rid of it, find somebody, throw it at their feet or whatever, and just get rid of it and live for another day. And it's just Burrow's already suffered one knee injury, dude. I mean, what was it again? 6 sacks again this week?
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. All right, what do you got going on in the NFL Network, my brother, this week?
Yeah, we got some big stuff. We got the Thursday game, big Thursday one this week, which we'll of course be heavily involved in. Then we got all day Sunday, and then after this week, everybody gets to London, and then the focus shifts to the London game. So, a lot of good stuff, I would say, coming on the network.
Thank God we're not part of that London stuff, bro. Those are some early ass pregame shows I don't want to be a part of. Follow him on Twitter at Rap Sheet. Catch him every week here with our look around the NFL. Ian, thank you, my friend. Be safe in your travels.
Right.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Got it. There you go. That's our look around the NFL.